Hey, this is Indigenous Patriot. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk about a couple things here today. So, obviously, we already know that Pennsylvania and Michigan certified their results. Michigan was a nail biter, but Pennsylvania I had faith in all along. I mean, the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania is pretty off the chain with some of his comments. I don't know if you saw it earlier this week, or rather last week, when the lieutenant governor of Texas had said he'll give $1 million to anybody that shows proof of fraud. And then the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania was like, I got proof. Here's this Trump guy that voted in his dead parents' name. P.S. The Cowboys suck. No, he said, P.S. The Cowboys blow. Anyway, I'm not a sports fan, I guess we could say. So I'm not choosing team sides here. I never grew up watching organized sports. We got into other things, so like martial arts. Anyway, I followed him on Twitter after that. John Fetterman was his name. So thank you to Michigan and thank you to Pennsylvania for doing what you can to keep our democracy alive. I appreciate that. Georgia, our eyes on you. They're currently going through an electronic recount. They just finished a hand recount. The electronic recount they're estimating to be done by December 1st, and it's not expected to change any of the results. I mean, it's like what, a 12,000 margin in between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And even if we threw out all the ballots in Georgia, Joe Biden's already won. Another thing to remark on is the fact that the GSA finally decided to, give Biden the proper presidential elect rights. It's $9 million towards salaries, his office space, and things like that. Finally, we are able to move into the actual transition and have briefings and things that are important as we move from one presidential administration to the next presidential administration. All the while, Donald Trump is still refusing to concede. I mean, he really said, I will never concede. That's pretty much where we, need to pay attention to in that part of the conversation. Doesn't need to concede. January 21st, he's out. In any case, moving on. So the Open Skies Treaty, today was the last, well, we're out of the Open Skies Treaty as of today. The Open Skies Treaty was signed by multiple member states of NATO, and the agreement basically stated that we could fly planes over their territories and see if they're built, what kind of military might they have, see if they're building facilities and things like that, and vice versa. They could do the same to us. And part of that revolves around nuclear capabilities, because if you're flying over an area and you're noticing that they have, a site where, a large site, and it seems like, they're enriching uranium, you kind of want to do something about that before they, get to the actual process of, building warheads, and we end up with more weapons of mass destruction in our world that we just don't need any more of. We've got enough weapons of mass destruction already to do us in, like, multiple times over. So the claim was that Russia had violated this treaty, so the United States was going to pull out of it. And, sometimes I wish some people's parents would have pulled out. Anyway, I guess that was inappropriate. But we're pulling out of this treaty because of one country that we say violated, and it's the one country that we met with in Helsinki, the one country that the current president, and not the president-elect, happens to have had a lot of scandal around. the person that has the bipartisan Senate report on Russian interference in the 2016 elections. I mean, you just pile on more and more. And while people go, oh, the Russian collusion hoax, I don't know so much that it was that, hoaxy. I've read the bipartisan Senate reports, and there's stuff in there. But I digress. I wonder if Biden's going to reintroduce us to this treaty. Maybe Russia did do some things that they weren't supposed to do and violated the treaty, but we can sanction them. They're not the only country involved. We might want to continue to do what we're doing so that we can maintain a sense of mutual assured peace, because war doesn't help anybody out. Moving on to war. You're seeing a lot on I'm seeing a lot on social media where people were talking about the positives and the negatives in prosecuting Donald Trump. And I'm going to give my straight up opinion on this. All right. So if Donald Trump can provably commit crimes, and listen when I'm stating this, I am saying in a neutral position. I'm not making an assumption here with what I'm talking about. But if it can be proven with evidence that Donald Trump has broken the law while he was in office, I believe that it's important. It is important for us to follow that through. It is important for us to convict him of the things that he's done wrong. Because if we do not, we are opening the door up for the next guy. Or whether it's Donald Trump, his kid, or somebody else that has the same values but is better at smooth talking and gets further along. We need to be able to smack the hand and say, this is not appropriate. I've used this analogy before. It's like when you put your hand on a hot stove and it burns the heck out of you. You learn not to do it again. We need to teach them not to do it again. So if it is proven that he has committed crimes, he needs to be held accountable. That being said, I don't want to deal with the Hillary emails just with a Donald wrapper on it, okay? I don't want a lot of conspiracy theories and, lock him up, but nothing actually comes from it. If there's no proof, we need to move on, okay? One of the things that I enjoy is not having to put on a tinfoil hat every time I have a conversation. So I'm not going to be dealing with a lot of conspiracy theories and things like that. I like to talk about the things that are actually happening. Okay, I do like conspiracy theories, but under the understanding that these are conspiracy theories and not pushing it as some kind of actual narrative. So, again, if he committed crime, convict him. If we can't find proof that he committed the crime, we need to move on. Our country is divided enough as is. We need to figure out how to pull it together. I'm not saying, hand in hand we walk and sing Kumbaya and all that. I'm realistic. But the more divided we are, the easier it is for outside forces to take advantage, or even inside forces to take advantage. It's exactly what accelerationists hope for, a division and a civil war. How do we stop needless death and destruction? We handle it in an adult manner before it becomes a larger issue. That's just my opinion. Anyway, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Hopefully this struck you as interesting. If it did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share with your friends. Or even if they're not your friends, still share it. Lepichka Nawe. I will see you again.